Hi, my name is Nacho, welcome back to the channel. And you know what? I wasn't gonna make a video about the overwhelming victory Trump had in the last elections and how he has now beaten 2 women out of the White House and made Democrats melt harder than the ice caps Al Gore was so fond about a few years back. Mainly because that's not what the channel is about. I review shows and movies, some good, majority bad, adding the occasional boob and ass joke. So after creating the first Ripple Monica,
say it slow.
Granted, a lot of the Hollywood elite was involved in the election and their collective IQ is, for lack of a better word, questionable, and now they are also breaking down into a puddle over Kamala's incredible defeat.
I'm going to ask you what you think of the politicians, our politicians, the leader of the country first. I'm going to ask you whether or not you like...
I mean, she really made an effort to drive it into a wall all the way till election day, didn't she? But that still wasn't enough to convince me to greenlight this video. Until the one and only provider of shit takes and overall dumbest woman in Hollywood, Rachel Zegler, decided to open her mouth and give us her opinion on the matter. And oh boy, did she sing us a song. Now, I've been told in the comment section by several people who I hope are now subscribed that what I'm doing is basically bullying Rachel and picking on her just for views. And they are absolutely right. This woman is the Hollywood equivalent of a rich fat kid in a public school who has a bigger lunch than the rest of the kids and is being smug about it. At this point, I'm doing it out of principle. The fact that these sort of videos attract more views than normal is an acceptable consequence. But Rachel took to social media, which is a phrase that greatly elevates the heart rate of anyone working in the Disney marketing department, wishing ill ends to Trump and everyone who voted for him. So roughly 75 million people. She does know that she needs those people to go see her film, right? She started her rant after already supporting Kamala throughout the elections via her Instagram, saying, "I find myself speechless in the midst of this," which is hilarious considering that the majority of her problems came from her inability to shut the fuck up. Another 4 years of hatred, leading us towards a world I do not want to live in. She of course means that the past 4 years where it was not only acceptable, but endorsed to hate on straight white males and traditional families were fine. But now that the libs are out of office and that's no longer gonna be acceptable, now she's upset about the hating. It's fine when they do it, leading us towards a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in. Leading us towards a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want. Leading us towards a world that is fearful. She doesn't have a daughter, and that imaginary daughter is not old enough to be forced to have her imaginary baby she doesn't want. But she is acting afraid about shit that hasn't happened. America has a healthcare problem, it has a crime problem, it has a cost of living problem, it has fucking zombies walking the street high up on fentanyl. But this is the biggest problem that Rachel Zegler is focusing on, as well as every other crazy liberal chick who's been upset on social media since Trump won. The funniest thing about all of this, and I recall my fat rich kid analogy, is that as long as she doesn't continue fucking up her career, she's in a position that's comfortable enough to not have to worry about any of it. She's talking about her daughter not being able to 86 a child she doesn't want, as if that is the only option. If your child gets accidentally pregnant, that's kinda your fault as a parent for not teaching her to be responsible about sex. And if the concern is that the kid's gonna be a product of rape, then that's a matter of the country being secure enough to prevent that from happening in the first place, which is not something Kamala touched on during her campaign.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We must together work together to see where we are headed, where we are going, and our vision for where we should be.
Because we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible actually happen.
To see what is possible, to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, to reject the notion that the way things have always been has to be the way things will continue to be.
I have a motto. I eat and drink no for breakfast.
This economy, hello.
Speaking of which, that's part of the answer to what she says next. "I shouldn't be this shocked," she asserted, "but I am. I am heartbroken for my friends who awoke in fear this morning. I am here for you, to cry, to yell, to hug, to wax poetic on how the left continues to fail us, forging a new path forward. This loss should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. But it did, and that's because the left led a massively expensive campaign to make themselves look as bad as possible to the American people. Led by a woman who's fucking clueless, and I only have to use this video of her staging a call with a voter on election day and then raising her phone, showing everybody that she had the camera app on and that she wasn't really talking to anybody. Stuff like that, and the right capitalizing on every free ball they left set up for them, as if it was a game of volleyball between 10-year-olds and the dudes from Haiku. I don't watch volleyball, okay? Give me a break. Who spiked every ball they sent, aggressively and without shame of hitting them straight in the fucking face. The majority of people who voted for Trump saw what sort of losers were currently in power and decided to go with the alternative. They lost because the left con meme, and no one is better than taking advantages of memes than Donald Trump. So yeah, she shouldn't be shocked that they lost by that much. And then she closes her statement with, I echo Ethel Cain's statement more than anything, a musician we've never heard about who also went on a long TLDR rant on socials. Good on you, girl. Please get some sunlight and a cheeseburger. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. Oof. You shouldn't have said that. But it's okay, you know. That's what the white minority of people in America are failing to realize. Going off on live television saying how Trump is gonna take away their rights and how it's now 4 years of hatred or that injustice won, etc. The fact that they're able to say it and express their opinions freely is because they lived in a free country where free speech is allowed. Look at countries like the UK, where people are being locked up for things they posted on Facebook. Or China, where a lot worse goes on. The disgustingly rich female panel of The View blaming the lack of censorship on Kamala's laws is incredibly ironic, saying that the people being able to freely express their thoughts is a reason why their elected candidate lost. And people who unironically support Rachel's statement saying that she should be able to shoot 5 Trump supporters daily. Talk about the tolerant left, hey? Are another great example of the freedom that these people have, that they are overlooking for the right to kill babies who don't even exist yet. Rachel continues saying that there's a sickness in the country, shown in the amount of people who showed up for this man. People who stayed behind them under a false sense of security, masculinity, intelligence, patriotism, and humanity. There's no help for any of them. Fuck this. I'm always confused about how liberals are so actively against a united country that cares about humanity and intelligence and that enforces the idea of patriotism. Like, are any of those bad things? Why wouldn't you want that for your nation? I'm from Argentina, right? My country is not doing great right now. The economy is shit. The good parts of the land were sold to the highest bidder by politicians whose only interest was to fatten their wallets, and the people led them. And there's a huge political division amongst the public, some of them being the people who supported the very thieves who squatted over their countrymen and took a massive shit on them. However, I wish from the bottom of my heart that every country in the world would be as united as Argentina is when we're playing international soccer. We won the World Cup in 2022 and the whole world knew about it. Every Argentinian in every country known to man took to the streets in celebration. I grew up with an image of America being the most patriotic sons of bitches to ever exist. Fuck everyone else, we are the red, white and blue. We shoot guns and eat bacon and we love our country. But current America looks like the most confused nation in the planet, where people with the resources and freedom to say and do whatever they want constantly complain about democracy being lost in a democratic election and asking for more censorship and regulation to prevent that from happening again. Rachel Zegler is part of the 0.001% of actors who rose to fame and financial security at a very young age without having to break their backs, allegedly, and is now telling 75+ million of our working class fellow Americans who voted with the interest of their actual real kids in mind to go fuck themselves for thinking different than her and her friends. Yeah, those are the majority of the people, of. They are the ones who pay your rent, and they're now not going to see your fucking movie. Rachel finishes her rant, going back to stage, sending love to everyone who needs it, telling people to hold their local governments accountable. That's where we'll make our real change. Right. This is not the end, ever. And this is the part that made me laugh. I will love through these 4 years as best as I can. Fuck Donald Trump. The love lasted one sentence. But I'm not surprised that this is her take on things. Rachel is a very young, very dumb woman who speaks really quickly and out of her ass and doesn't believe half the shit she says. Like the last phrase, I will love through the next 4 years, but fuck this guy. That is an oxymoron. Much like her. A lot of the liberal women of America share this sentiment though, and instead of sharing the love, they are doing the opposite. The 4B movement has risen to popularity, and the most mid-women imaginable have vowed to not show any affection or have sex with men for the next 4 years, and have shaven their heads in protest. This is to mimic the 4B movement established by women in South Korea, a country with a declining birth rate that has now fallen below the necessary level to maintain population. Do you know what happens to a country where people die faster than they are born? Lucky for Americans, majority of men don't give a fuck about this, and Republican women seem more than happy to have more babies now that the crazy feminists are making themselves easier to avoid by making themselves bald.
Like a monkey ready to be shot into space. Space monkey.
And think about it, them choosing not to have sex for the next 4 years automatically fixes the problem of abortions. So it was never about the laws involved, it was about them being less slutty. I guess they also missed the fact that if they refuse to have babies to raise them Democrats, they are also working really hard in making their numbers even smaller. Now that could be the end of the video. But oh, what's that? There's a call coming.
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, it's for you, Rachel.
Hi, darling. How are you? Yes, I saw the play. Looks great. The boob job's still on the table when you're ready, babes. Just calling really quick about your Insta story. Yeah, we still have a movie coming up, and though, I'm gonna need you to apologize, okay?
If I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress...
I don't care, sweetheart. I'm just gonna send you a text with the PSA. Just copy and paste it, okay, sugar doll? Remember, no more posting on your free will, okay? You're not allowed to do that anymore, darling. Just gotta go. Kisses. Love you.
Yes, Rachel got a call and promptly issued a non-apology saying that her feelings got the most of her. Like most liberals. Claiming hatred and anger have moved them further away from peace and understanding that she's sorry to contribute to the negative discourse. Oof, Amanda PTSD. And that she will be better tomorrow. My favorite part in that essay is that little middle part when she says that everyone's free to express their opinions. That's the essence of freedom. The freedom for her to say fuck the current president, as well as the chick saying that she wants her to shoot Trump supporters, as well as the hacks over at The View saying that they want to censor Twitter. Over the past 4 years, one of the biggest things I noticed being pushed on people was trying to get them cancelled based on their opinions, or saying something that angered the minorities, like the LGBT and the trans community. Gina Carano was wrongfully terminated by Disney for saying less than Rachel, as she continues to say what she wants, mostly without consequences. And I do say mostly because the real consequences for Rachel comes from the public, who already dislike her and will determine her future as a privileged actress. The Snow White remake apparently ballooned its budget to almost $500 million, meaning they have to make at least $1 billion to recoup their losses, and here's the lead actress of that film spitting in the face of the majority of her target audience. I get that she's upset that her team lost, but bloody hell, learn some PR, girl! But if you watch this fun video, just like a shorty to keep you guys entertained. New video about the Penguins season finale coming up, so stay tuned for that. And as always, I've been Nacho, hoping you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.